The focus is on human-centered approaches to digital learning, accessibility, and AI-supported education. Her work blends clarity, intuition, and visual learning. Devika is an alumna of the Geese College of Business. We will be holding questions at the end. So in the last 15 minutes or so, if you have questions that you want to put into the chat in the meantime, we can kind of have them queued up. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our speaker.
Hi, everyone. I'm Devika Toprani. Today, we're going to talk about not AI made, soul made, learning in a human first, AI supported era. And let's begin. So, I have a few questions for the room today before I begin. As educators, have you all noticed that learners are moving fast but retaining less? For example, they're prioritizing speed over understanding. Assignments are due at 11:59. They start at 11 and at 11:30 dot they submit. But in that process, are they retaining the depth of understanding they're supposed to, or are they prioritizing speed? And that's the question we're going to address today. The second question is, are they skipping their thinking itself? Are they relying too much on AI for that? And the third question is, have you all felt that digital learning could feel more human or soulful? And yes, this is what we're going to do today. Session roadmap. First, we're going to discuss what is somographic learning. Somographic learning. Soma is the body. In this case, it is the hand. And graphic is writing or drawing, basically made visible for learners. And we are also going to be discussing the three-step framework of somographic learning: attempt, map, and refine in depth, and how it is human first and AI supported. And lastly, we'll also be talking about how to use it in real life classroom settings. Um, so, coming to the problem, I've noticed that there is a global clarity gap today between what learners are being taught. There are 200-page PDF textbooks. When they go home, they scroll 3-second reels. I feel that's a mismatch in their understanding uh, because of the social media that's available now. Uh, and that's why maybe they prioritize AI over clarity. That could be a constraint. And because of this, the result is confusion, lack of interest, overwhelm, disengagement with peers, no interaction, and less questions, no curiosity. So, the insight that I've gained from this analysis is that in a low attention world, learners need to build their conceptual clarity before jumping into AI. And AI can refine that further once their conceptual clarity is clear. Because if they don't know what prompt to input in Claude, will Claude give them the correct answer? Will Claude give them the clarity? And that's what we're going to discuss today. Uh, this is research backed. There have been studies that have been showing that learners using AI scored 25% lower on questions that included conceptual depth, whereas learners not relying on AI could do better. Um, and the second study that I've noticed is Gartner's 2026 predictions. Gartner's predicted that 50% of organizations will require AI-free assessments as workforce is over-relying on AI. In this case, somographic learning is a cognitive safeguard to prioritize sense making before they jump to AI. So there's a direct correlation between learning and workforce. Uh, a lot of workforce tasks today are AI automated. It's affecting the job market. So, what can we do to build our learner critical thinking? And human judgment and reasoning are becoming more important as AI advances. So, we need to build that too. An MIT study has also worked on this as well. Um, I am not able to move forward. Okay. Somographic learning addresses um, a missed layer in education because AI has come in. The skipped step. Um, so today, learning consists of the shortcut, which is on the left. AI provides the learners the answer. Learners skipping the struggle to learn, skipping the understanding. It's output without understanding, and the result is shallow recall. What we are building towards with somographic learning is earned insights, desirable difficulty, attempt, map, and refine. AI comes at the end, at the refined stage. An example of this would be the reference study out here. 55% of Gen Z is rejecting too perfect AI. An example of this would be why are we all on Substack today? I mean, I love Substack, and we all crave the imperfectness of opinions. We don't like polished AI as much for insights. And that's why we need to build messy understanding before the refinement stage that comes where AI comes and polishes it up. So now I'm introducing somographic learning and how it safeguards learning and human sense making before learners jump to AI. Somographic learning is a human first method where learners make connections through visuals and then use AI to refine after they have gained conceptual clarity, after the foundation is clear. The problem it solves is the global clarity gap. Learners are moving to polished output. They are prioritizing speed over understanding. Somographic learning resolves that. Second, early AI can create automation bias. It can stop deep understanding. It can remove independent reasoning. It can increase groupthink in learner settings. With the advancement of AI, learners also need to build their own confidence, their own clarity. What is right? What is wrong? And that direction is something they need to build before they jump to AI. AI can help them refine it. It's amazing, but they need that depth before that. Um, Learning environments emphasize terms and text over structure and relationships. Somographic learning is acts as a safe entry point before learners jump to existing teaching methods, which is text, theory. But before that, they need to make those connections. They need that safe barrier, safe entry point. Um, and again, Soma is the body, graphic is drawing and writing. Meaning begins with the body, not the algorithm, as stated with the embodied cognition theory. Somographic learning, I have researched, the research is based on these three pillars: embodied cognition, cognitive load theory, and human AI interaction. Embodied cognition, in the 80s and the 90s, why would we write? To make it stick. Today, I'm forcefully not emphasizing on writing because learners have 3-second reels. They are not going to write paragraphs and pages. They will not get interested. Instead, I have created a visual grammar so that they make connections as they go and then get into the actual theory that we have today. Cognitive load theory. So, reducing working memory demands at entry point. So, somographic learning is a safe entry point into the main topic, and it brings conceptual clarity before jumping into heavy theory. Human AI interaction is very important because AI is not going anywhere. So AI has to be at the refinement stage. It has to be somewhere in the process. Attempt, map, refine. This is the three process part of somographic learning. Attempt. Learners don't know anything at this stage. They have zero knowledge. They build understanding here. And the educator can show an image or just one visual to bring in that curiosity for the learner. Because learners, if they're not curious, they will not ask questions. If they don't ask questions, they will not struggle. They will not learn. They will not engage. They will not build understanding. So, attempt is very important here. And messy is expected. Uh, Today, learners go to AI for the perfect answer. No, we need them to get messy. We need them to make mistakes. And that's how they learn. So, attempt, map, they convert that draft into a simple visual structure, concepts, connections, gaps, and sequence. This does not have to be with a pen and paper. It can also be with a stylus on an iPad using the Miro app. There are several different ways, and it's so accessible. It's not just writing. Some people might not like writing, some people might. So it's accessible there. Refine. Once the attempt and the map stage is clear, conceptual clarity is available, and the topic is understood well, that's when the learner knows this is the prompt I need to put into Claude, GPT, Gemini, and that's when it will help it. An example of the refined phase would be I want to know about how the heart works. I have already learned it in the attempt and map stage. I know how the heart works. In the refined phase, how will the heart work in the next 10 years? How can I make it better? What is the additional research that is available that I have not considered? I know how the heart works, but now I want to expand my understanding and get into advanced topics. So, yes, attempt, map, refine restores the earned nature of thinking for learners. Um, the deliverables that attempt, map, refine produces are a thinking map and traceable artifact. For educators, this is very useful because the process, the understanding, the struggle of the learner is visible. And whereas today, the learners just submitting AI assignments. You don't know how they worked on it. Did they even work on it? Like, I don't know. So educators know through the reasoning and the rough draft, okay, this needs to be clarified. This needs to be addressed. This concept is not clear. And yeah, and that's why I think sonographic learning is important. Measurable outcomes. Also, by the way, I'm open to pilots. I'm offering the first pilot at no cost. Because I do want to know how this works with learners in real institutional settings. I have an OSF preprint that is shared at the end of the PPT, which includes a pilot document and how I would like to structure it. But I'm always open to feedback depending on the learner audience that we are wanting to target. So the measurable outcomes here, deep understanding versus shallow understanding. Is the learner able to understand with the attempt and maps phase with more depth, more conceptual clarity before moving to AI for refinement? Is the cognitive load less? Is there less overwhelm? Is the entry point safe enough to approach? Is this building curiosity? And are they able to ask questions? Are they engaging with other peers to know more? Um, is there less automation bias as a result of this? Is it reducing dependency? Is it building original thinking? Those are the things I would like to measure in the pilot for somographic learning. Uh, So there's a visual grammar that I've developed called the shape emotion grammar. It is a visual language. Of course, learners are not going to know this. This is just for educators to understand. This was a handmade drawing I created back in October of 2025. I was myself trying to understand, attempt, map, refine, shape, motion, emotion, meaning. And I think I built on this. Shape is the structure of an idea. For learners, they need to understand how it looks, how it behaves, how can I make connections with it. Motion is when they make those connections. Emotion, how do I connect it with my lived experiences? How do I connect it with my surroundings? And that's where peer interaction happens. Emotions, you learn from others. That's when the concept clicks, meaning. So these are some steps that are being skipped in the current education system, but this is what will lead to good jobs, critical thinking in the future, and responsible AI. Um, so, yes. Moving on to the theoretical grounding of shape emotion grammar. Circle is safety. Why do we have circle time in therapy? To make people feel safe, to build a bond. Um, Square. Square example, we have Excel sheets. Why do we structure them in squares or rectangles or tables? It's structure, schema theory. Triangle is activation. Maslow's hierarchy. Why is it in a triangle? It's a way of organizing things. Spiral. We sometimes make scribbles, spirals. It is learning and growth. Density, cognitive load. Open space. An example of open space would be we have this table out here, but we also have the open space that may helps us focus on this table. So these are just perceptual cues, not symbolic rules that learners need to learn. But this is just how we think, how we learn best, and how we can organize our thoughts better to make better sense making. This is an educator who reached out to me after I started off with somographic learning. His name is Adisa. He's a high school science teacher, but also an edtech designer in Nigeria. And I have a collaborative Substack post on with him on this topic, so which is linked at the end. His process, he was very interested in it. We had a discussion. He took somographic learning visuals that I had, and he put them in DeepSeek as an AI reference set. This is very interesting, the way educators can use this approach. He wanted to teach a 12th grade science student oxidation. So he fixed the content in DeepSeek from grades 10 to 12 before generating the AI content. Because, of course, it has to be learner centric, it has to be, um, I would say, audience specific. Step three, he introduced oxidation with a wordless visual contrast. This is what he created using the visual grammar and my reference set that I gave him. Bicycle that is non oxidized and the emotion associated with it, the bicycle that's oxidized and the emotion associated with it. He just showed this to the 12th grade student. He asked her, "What is this? What do you think this is?" It builds curiosity, it builds engagement. And then he used shape, motion, emotion, grammar to kind of explain this because that's when the learner started asking questions, building curiosity. And then after the concept was clear, formal definitions, technical jargon was introduced, but after the visual. And that is the beauty of somographic learning here. Uh, so these are the ways in which it impacted the learner. Uh, we've been focusing on memorization first, but this is reflection first. And we need reflection first learning because AI is proceeding and AI cannot reflect for us, can it? It can give us the information, but the reflecting part and the struggle part is something learners have to do themselves. What somographic learning is not. I think it's this is an important slide because to clarify what somographic learning does not cover, it is not art therapy. We are not asking learners to be Picasso. This is just mapping, making connections, making rough drafts at entry point. It is not a learning style. Everybody starts from the same visual point. For example, we do have courses like my GEES course, Masters in Management. uh, prioritizes bachelor's degrees from different backgrounds, be it psychology, I would say engineering, computer science, history. Everybody has a different background, but is coming into the Masters of Management program together. Some people, some learners have that low confidence. Okay, this is data analytics class, but I don't have that background. Whereas another student who has a computer science bachelor's degree has that. So in this case, there is a comparison. There is not an equal entry point. So somographic learning with all these visuals gives it a safe entry point. Everybody starts together regardless of background, regardless of prior academic skills. Uh, and that's how the universal design principles come in. It is not replacing existing theory. In fact, it is a scaffold before current existing systems of learning. It is not AI generated content. In fact, they start off with attempt map, and AI comes in later after they have conceptual clarity. It is not a closed system. In fact, I'm always open to refining my framework depending on the results of the pilot that come in. Um, Always open to that. And now, coming to the real world examples of somographic learning and the applications. In a data science class, suppose a psychology student enters and is confused about the topic. This is a basic entry point to teach them data science and stats. Everybody starts together. High, low, medium. This is the drawing they can easily make. You don't need to be Picasso for that. And these are all handmade by me while I was understanding how I can develop this somographic learning framework. Emotional regulation, psychology, dialectal behavior therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, escalation, rumination, grounding. Makes it very easy before introducing theory. These are some additional examples. In fact, this can be used everywhere as an entry point, as a scaffold. STEM, probability gradients, health and medicine, risk gradients, concept first medical explanations, learning science, cognitive load mapping, business strategy, inflection mapping, decision pathways, business strategy, and mental health, of course, what works, what doesn't work, and to also express how a patient feels, because sometimes they cannot always express it with words. They need another outlet to express these things. People systems, role expectations, HR, mismatch, role fit, alignment, research. This is a big one for research because what's working, what's not, what is insightful, what's not. Policy and social systems, risk propagation pathways, tipping points, teams and collaboration. What is trustworthy? What is not? How do we innovate? How do we not? So it can be used everywhere. Um, as educators, getting to how to use this in learning systems. In your slides, you can start off the presentation with one wordless anchor, just like how Adisar did it back there. He started off with the AI referenced set of somographic visuals, the shape emotion grammar. So somographic learning is trademarked, and I'm actually wanting to partner with institutions on this as well, and I'm working on that. But start each lesson with one visual anchor. This is at the attempt phase before the learner drafts the messy stuff and makes connections. No text, just get the classroom curious, make them understand, and build those questions they've been wanting to ask. Actually, sometimes they need permission to do that. And I think this gives them that permission to ask questions. In learning management systems, the somographic visual can be placed first in any module. Reduces cognitive load, makes the entry point safe for all learners, regardless of background, works before video, before quizzes, before introducing the PDFs, and it's the same entry point. And with the refined prompt, when AI enters last, learner actually is remaining the architect of his own understanding. And that's the best part. It's so satisfying to see those learners build that. And learners also feel proud, right? Benefits of somographic learning. Of course, it reduces early cognitive load, brings about a safe entry point. It is aligned with UDL principles, boosts clarity, intuition, and confidence. Confidence is very important for learners today. Um, I've noticed several learners succumb to groupthink, and with AI, they need to build their own understanding. They need to build their confidence because the job market is ever changing. And for them to get a job or secure it and sustain it, they need to have that confidence and critical thinking. And also, psychological safety is very important today, especially while working with tech. I think sonographic learning addresses that. Responsible AI, human in the loop, creative thinking, real world problem solving, increasing engagement with peers, encourages AI literacy, prevents automation bias. It is scalable across K to 12, higher education, edtech, medtech, with many different departments, and it can be used as a foundation before existing technology. That means that nothing in current education system needs to change. This is just a scaffold before that. Maybe just 20 minutes of the class, the first class. Um, who benefits? And a lot of them do. Neurodiverse learners, learners from all backgrounds, including STEM, who are just starting off STEM programs from a psychology or history background. So it's very important for them to get a safe entry point. Educators managing cognitive load in their class to make things more accessible, reduce overwhelm. Gen Z who's resistant to AI generated perfection. They are. I mean, that's the reason why Substack is gaining popularity. Institutions seeking responsible AI practices. Um, Adult learners. In universities today, we have learners who are 22 years old and those who are 40 or above. And this kind of brings about and makes it equal. Everybody starts together. And English language learners, we have so many immigrant students coming to US universities. This makes it easier for them to grasp concepts because sometimes they might not understand the technical jargon that's introduced at the beginning. So, yeah, medical and healthcare educators, this is important. ChatGPT Health is coming out, but what about those in residency programs? Are they going to use ChatGPT and learn from that? Or do they need to build that conceptual clarity and sense making to maybe help a patient who's in critical condition? If that's a scenario, then they're not going to use GPT there. They have to save a patient's life with their own sense making, their own understanding. Corporate learning and management teams as well, because they need to align first and then use AI for refining that. Because if everybody starts using AI before that sense making, then everything's going to go haywire. Curriculum designers need to understand this concept to reduce cognitive overwhelm in learners. It also helps students with anxiety or those who want perfectionism, who are directly jumping to AI for polished answers. This gives them a safe entry point. No, you do not need to be perfect. You do not need to have a perfect answer. You need to struggle. Struggling is okay. The wrong answer is okay. And researchers and PhD students trying to make sense of topics. So, somographic learning benefits all of these people. Coming to current traditional AI prompts and the somographic prompt. Traditional AI prompting, learner will say, okay, tell me how photosynthesis works. Result, AI just gives it the answer. Makes the learner very lazy because the answer is in front of them. There's no struggle. The somographic refined prompt. Here's how I think this works. Where am I wrong? What can I improve? Critical thinking. And I'm also working on building a tool for educators to kind of structure the attempt phase. I'm working in Play Lab and prototyping this tool. So if anybody is interested in collaborating there, be it in UX or EdTech platforms, I'm happy to discuss this further. Um, and with the somographic refined prompt, learner builds active critical thinking. The human stays in the driver's seat. The learner remains the architect. This is being generated via Google Gemini, just for purposes just to show you all this. And this is an example of endocannabinoid system. If a student is using attempt map refine, of course, they don't need to know attempt map refine, but um, this is the prompt they can add. I have mapped understanding of the endocannabinoid system. This is what I've been working on. This is what's happening based on current medical research. Is my direction right? Is there anything missing that I'm not able to consider? But this is only after they have the existing knowledge of endocannabinoid system. That's when they can ask this. Give me a stress test question to help me build my understanding. An interesting point about somographic learning is that different people view it differently. Cognitive scientists view it differently. AI researchers, ethicists, and educators, designers, they all have this different topic and it all fits in different ways. This is very interesting. And I have a personal philosophy that I like to share with you. Learning is not AI made, it is soul made. By that, I mean that learning should be human first, AI supported. AI is a tool, it's a partner, but it can't build the understanding. It can't struggle for the learner, can it? That's why learning is not AI made, it is soul made. Thank you. And this is a slide where I've included my email. Uh, I'm open to pilots in all these fields. I'm experimenting with PlayLab, as I mentioned. I'm developing this app for educators to build for the attempt stage. So please reach out to me. And for the pilots, the first one is at no cost because I'm looking for data. So it's on a first come, first basis. Please reach out if you're interested in this. Sharing my social media and the OSF preprint. It also has a pilot document on how I would like to structure the pilot, just for clarity for institutions. And I'm also seeking a full-time role. So if this aligns with any of uh, your institutions, I'm open to discussing and chatting this with about this. And now I'm opening up the floor for questions. Uh, okay, the chat has a few questions. Let me go through it and I'll answer them. And okay, well, nobody has any questions. Wow. But yeah, please feel free to just ask any questions you may have. I'm happy to answer them right now. I know it's a lot of information. It's a lot of different information, but if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. This is the time to ask them.
Did you
How
see
do
the
I get to
question?
the PPT? Not 1 minute. How do I get to the PPT? Just give me a moment.
I think there's a question right here from Ann
Yeah.
Jackson. Do you see that one?
Uh, where is it? I'm
It says
not able to
what it says what
get.
prompted you to dig into this idea?
What drove me to this?
Anne asks what prompted you to dig into this idea?
What prompted me to dig into this? And that's a lot of people are asking me this, even in my podcasts. To be very honest, it's come out of my lived experiences. I did not use a prompt to start off this research. I noticed in educational systems, in fact, I was fortunate to be studying at University of Illinois while working as an assessment specialist at the School of Social Work. and an academic programs associate. So I think seeing both sides of the coin makes a person notice the flaws in the system, what can be improved. And the interesting part is that um, I have looked at, 1 minute, let me just go to the gallery. Yeah, so I have, as a- as a child myself, I struggled with STEM concepts. In fact, my master's at University of Illinois was not planned. I didn't even want to do a bachelor's degree. This is a very interesting story. I will share this in my next Substack post. But my goal was to do a diploma in education, which I have done, and to teach preschoolers. And the whole journey so far has led me to develop somographic learning. I have an entrepreneurial business called Doodles by Devika, where I used to create diagrams and visuals. I used to create handmade products like trays, coasters, jewelry boxes for clients. They would just blindly send me a Pinterest picture, and I could do that. But when I was learning in school and high school, I was directly given tech jargon, and that made me feel disinterested in STEM concepts. That's why I didn't want to pursue a master's degree. But I did because I wanted to build my business. I wanted to build Doodles by Devika. But initially, those concepts that were provided to me on day one without the mapping, without the understanding, made me feel disinterested. And I saw that today, I mean, in my master's program or at University of Illinois, or when during my workspace, I've also worked in K to 12 and higher education. So I've seen both sides. I worked as a preschool teacher also. So I know how learning begins. Uh, so I think all these different lived experiences kind of made me get into this topic and research it further because I used to see that even in my master's program, I saw that learners were skipping the understanding process. And the weird part is that when I started research on this in September of 2025, everybody was saying AI is amazing. AI is going to scale. It's going to be great. It is great. I'm not saying no, but how is it impacting everyone? And I used to struggle to explain why I'm researching this in the beginning. Nobody would get it. But I think those lived experiences have maybe just created this. So I hope you get what I mean. If there's anything else, I'd be happy to uh, dive deeper. And you can always connect one on one with me via LinkedIn to maybe chat more about that. And one more thing, Stanford has also published a paper which is researching, and this is actually given this theory. They're stating the problem, and ironically, somographic learning is the exact solution to that. And I just hope we can take this forward, pilot it, and just try and see how it's working with everyone. Thank you so much, Casey, for for your love to hear your journey. Good luck with your testing. Yes, thank you so much. University of Illinois has been my home, I would say, because I have worked with Siebel. I'm currently working with them at with the human centered design. I worked at the School of Social Work. I have studied at Geese. I think University of Illinois is my home, and I'd like to take this forward from here. It's been an inspiration in all ways, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much, David, Holly, Casey, Adrienne, everyone who's been very supportive so far. And I'm always open to feedback if you want to reach out one on one. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Vika and the participants for being here. Please, everyone who is attending, share your feedback on conference programming and the surveys that are available at the end of each session. In the lobby, we invite you and encourage you to chat and discuss and network with your fellow attendees. The next session starts at 1:30. There's still some time if anybody has any questions.
Yes, happy to answer any questions you may have about maybe implementation or future impact. Always willing to dive in.
Abby, I guess we could stop recording since 3 of us left.